So we got to talk about some quarterback recruiting because a few articles have been dropping from every outlet about all the top signal callers in the 2026 class. And of course, the name Jaden O'Neal, the Oklahoma signal caller who committed since last June, he's been coming up a lot lately. As Oklahoma is in pursuit of a second quarterback, the question has been asked, is Jaden O'Neal out the door? I'm going to address that. I talked to his people. We're going to talk about that as well as kind of what things and what all this means with offers that's going down the line. So let's dive into it. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank you for pulling up to the channel. This video is powered by our partners at BetUS. Check them out. They're hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on your first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. So quarterback recruiting is interesting this year. It appears that Oklahoma's goal now is to have two quarterbacks in this class and not one. But a lot of the national guys are out here asking the question of, is Oklahoma really wanting to go after two quarterbacks, or are they looking to pivot in a different direction? Well, first off, the last of the articles came out. Steve Wiltfong, Sam Spiegelman. They've all, Wiltfong from On3, Spiegelman from Rivals. I saw Tom Loy from 247 also chime in on this. And a lot of them have been pointing out that Oklahoma has been ramping things up when it comes to their pursuit of Bo Bentley. And Bo Bentley out of Salina, Texas, the Texas guy, He's been turning heads. A lot of teams have been liking what they saw out of him out of the Navy All-American Bowl in San Antonio. And he's been getting offers like crazy. Now, granted, Oklahoma is considered one of the favorites for him because Oklahoma is the dream school of his. When he got the offer, and we talked about it here on the channel, that he was pretty stoked about it. He had dreamed of playing Oklahoma. Baker Mayfield's his favorite player, and so on and so forth. And so the question has been asked as of now, like, okay, so, he likes Oklahoma. He wants to go to Oklahoma. Oklahoma's turning up. They're ramping things up as far as pursuing him. What does that mean for Jaden O'Neal? And there's a couple of things to really look at when you take in consideration. And I think that the knee-jerk reaction is that, Oklahoma is no longer into Jaden O'Neal because he doesn't fit the quote-unquote Ben Arbuckle mold. But I have to disagree. And I disagree with that on a couple of accounts. And let me point that out, what I mean, on the other side. But first, shout out to BetUS for hooking up the gamer. 150% bonus on the first deposit of $2,000. 125% bonus on your second and thirds by using promo code YouTube150. And we all know John Mateer, quarterback that transferred in, he's still up here in the Heisman Trophy faves. He is up there at plus 1,800. So if you want to get in on the action, you can there. As well as BetUS opening up their casino. They've got table games. They've got slots. All the fun if you want to get out there and, just have a good time on your phone. You can do that, and BetUS will hook you up to get you started. 150% bonus on the first deposit and 125% bonus on the second and thirds by using promo code YouTube150. BetUS, where the game begins. So the question that is asked is, does it make sense for Oklahoma to go after Bo Bentley? And can you take him and Jaden O'Neal? So this is what I looked at when it came to that. So Ben Arbuckle, when he started at Washington State, he had second-year quarterback Cam Ward, who had transferred in there from Incarnate Word. He had followed his OC, was Eric Morris at the time, who found him at Incarnate Word, went to Washington State. Now he's at Texas State. But he followed him up there to Washington State. And so when Coach Morris left, Ben took over. So Ben had Cam Ward, and then John Mateer was already recruited there, so he's already on the roster. So he had a couple years with him and Cam Ward. Cam Ward transfers out, goes to Miami. John Mateer takes over at the starting role. I point that out because when you look at it, this is kind of the dynamic that I'm seeing in between the two. Jaden O'Neal, if you have to do a comparison, reminds me a lot of Cam Ward. Not because he's black, because he doesn't run. Cam Ward doesn't truly scramble. Well, he doesn't run. He scrambles around and keeps the pocket moving, similar to Shedeur Sanders. That is the game that I've seen out of Jaden O'Neal because he's not a runner. That's not his game. He's a pocket passer that moves the pocket around, manipulates things with his eyes, and has a really strong freaking arm. That's his game. Bo Bentley plays a lot more like John Mateer. So the question has been asked, is like, well, isn't Bo Bentley more of a mode of what Ben Arbuckle could want. I mean, you could say that. You could also say the same thing about Jaden O'Neal, because when Ben was there with Cam Ward had his best year at that time underneath Ben Arbuckle. He also cut back on his turnovers and all of that. He also just still didn't run either. I think he had like 100 yards that season. He had maybe 100 yards this past season with Miami. And so the development piece of Cam Ward, Ben Arbuckle did a good job of calming him down from what he was the year before at Washington State. Like, Cam Ward's a loose cannon. And I joked on here as well as on Bleacher Report that I always quit on Cam Ward second half of the season because, when I would bet on him, I would get, good returns up until late in the years when he would kind of become more of a loose cannon. Well, that second season, he started to calm down. The biggest problem with Washington State, their defense just couldn't hold up with a lot of those high-powered offenses back in the old Pac-12. Well, John Mateer was in a kind of a similar boat. The defenses couldn't hold up while the offense was doing their work, is what it is. But Mateer was also a one-man wrecking crew. He did everything, similar to the way Bo Bentley plays down there in Salina, Texas. So to me, taking both makes sense. It gives you a combination of both quarterback types, and you see who wins out. So do I think that Jaden O'Neal's gone? I don't. Not yet. But a lot of teams want Jaden O'Neal. I mean, Georgia just gave him a recent offer. I know Colorado has been on his heels. He went to a game to see Shedeur Sanders. And so there is definitely mutual interest, as Pat Shermer really likes Jaden O'Neal, but he never backed off his commitment. Jaden came on here and talked about recruiting at the events recently. And, he's talking about, he has other players out there in California that he's trying to get to follow him. So I don't think that anything's finalized with Bo Bentley or with Jaden O'Neal. I do see Oklahoma in this situation doing similar to what we saw out of Alabama, Nick Saban's final class, where they took two top-tier quarterbacks. So it made sense for them because they not only needed an additional arm, but they also need the competition. In Oklahoma, there's a very good chance that if Mateer shows up and shows out this coming season, he's gone. That's just is what it is. I mean, his throwing mechanics, there's still questions about that. But if he produces at a high level and Oklahoma shows up and shows out, yeah, there's a good chance that you're going to lose him. If you lose him, Cole Gonzalez is going to be right behind him. The only one you're going to have is Michael Hawkins and Jet New. So Oklahoma's pursuit of two young quarterbacks, which financially is a lot cheaper, unless they decide to go to the portal and just get a lower tier quarterback they want to bring in as a backup, they can still do that as well. But I'm not counting out Jaden O'Neal, even though I know Georgia is pushing hard. They're going after him and Jared Curtis. It's going to be a tough one. Miami, of course, has a lot of interest in him. Like I said, it looks like Wisconsin and Alabama's trying to get into the race. Same thing with Colorado. Jaden's going to be a coveted QB, and so far, he hasn't bucked. Now, I would not be surprised if Jaden goes out and does some official visits at other schools just to make sure. If he feels uncertainty, now when I talk to people, they haven't given me any of that. They haven't said that they feel super uncertain. There are questions, though, about why. Jaden even mentioned that in an interview not too long ago. He wondered why they were going for another quarterback, and they explained that we needed another arm. We needed another competitive arm. Because the scout team is pretty important, especially for your defense when you're playing in the SEC. And so I totally get where he could potentially look at this and be like, I feel a little insulted, a little jaded, feel a little disrespected because he's been committed since the beginning of June. But I don't see that Jaden O'Neal is going to walk away. I don't see him walking away unless it's something that happens late in the cycle. There would have to be a reason where Oklahoma says, yeah, we're going to go ahead and move forward with either Bo Bentley and another quarterback instead of you. And I don't see Oklahoma pushing out a top 200 player, a top 100 player in a lot of aspects who could potentially rise up into a 5-star based upon just his arm talent alone. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know what y'all think. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Told y'all I had this video out. Going to do it this morning, but I took time, had to re-record and re-edit some stuff because I saw another article fly out. But I'm not in the camp that Jaden O'Neal's gone at all. I see Oklahoma getting two quarterbacks in this cycle, And I actually see them grabbing a transfer quarterback to go along with it. I could see them going to push to have 5 arms in the room just to make sure, because in today's era of college football, teams are trying to steal other quarterbacks because, yeah, they want to give them the opportunity to play immediately instead of them having to wait. So let's see what happens. We'll keep you abreast. We'll chop it up with Jaden probably sometime in June when, all the weekend visits come through. I expect him at some of these events to do some recruiting. So I will let you all know. We'll get something up to kind of chop it up with him and see his thoughts. Shout out to BetUS. They're going to hook you up. 150% bonus on the first deposit of $2,000 by using promo code YouTube150. And we'll have some more videos this weekend about some recruits. Another player is given his, put in his OV. And we're going to talk about some of these future freaks that's coming in the next 2 weeks for that event in March. So, yeah, we'll talk soon. Peace.